Fat bottom serpents, you make the. Oh, YouTube, I didn't see you there. Hello. Hello, folks. Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU, here for another Pauper video. And today we are going to be playing with some big booty serpents. Tolarian Terror and the recently downshifted from uncommon to common Cryptic Serpent offer you a very unique game plan where if you fuel your graveyard, you can get some very undercosted large creatures. And flipping back to Tolarian Terror for a second, these both have essentially the same ability, where they cost one less for each instant sorcery card in your graveyard. Now, why is this downshift so important? Delve is one of the traditional ways that you go and fuel an unfair thing from the graveyard, right? But what Delve does is it allows you to use a card in your graveyard as a one-time resource, whereas these pair of serpents allow you to reuse the cards multiple times. And that's a pretty big difference. It's very good redundancy as well. Beyond just that, we've also recently gotten some major heavy hitters for Pauper, these cycling creatures and spells from Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth. And so these things can be either threats or card advantage in the late game, while also being cantrips for your lands in the early game that also go and fuel the graveyard for Gurmag, Angler, or your Serpents, which is overall pretty strong. So let's go ahead and take a look at the entire deck list for today. Now, today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com as well as Cool Stuff Inc. Promo code ThrabenU will save you 5% on your order at Cool Stuff Inc. But if you find yourself in the Orlando area or you really love EDH and want to travel, please consider checking out Commander Fest Orlando in October. All right, looking at the deck list itself, this deck is traditionally called like Dimir Terror or Blue-Black Troll, although technically we have a Grixis splash here, although honestly it's mostly for sideboard cards if we kind of take a look at how things are shaping up here. Important things to know about the deck list. This has swamp cycling. This has island cycling. That means that this cycle of lands is fetchable because these are dual lands. They are ETB tapped dual lands, but mana in Pauper isn't nearly as good as it is in Legacy, so just kind of keep that in mind. Unexpected Fangs is a really neat combat trick and a way to come back after some early beats. A lot of times you might fall behind in the early game, but then stabilize once you can play a 5/5 or larger creature. And Unexpected Fangs is just a way for you to slam the door and say, no, you're not coming back into this game. Mental Note is another Thought Scour, as you're probably familiar with that one. And rounding out the deck list, we have Falagi Archaeologist, which when it ETBs, you mill 3, and you can put a non-creature, non-land from among the milled cards into your hand. If you don't, this gets a +1/+1 counter instead. I think that's mostly what I have to say here. Let's go ahead and hop into the matches. Pauper has gotten some huge power-ups between the Lord of the Rings set and Commander's Masters. So let's see how the format feels. Let's battle. All right, I will totally keep this opening hand here. Another fun trick. You can brainstorm on turn 1 and then in your upkeep. Oh, fuck. You know what? Ignore that trick. We'll come back to that trick later. I'm dead. I just died. I didn't die yet. I'm dead very soon. Okay, so what's going to happen is that my opponent just took the only land out of their deck. When they get to 5 mana, I die. They are just going to do the oops all spells thing from Legacy. And guess what? Dark Ritual, Lotus Petal, Rite of Flame gets them there next turn. Fuck. What the fuck am I supposed to do about this? This isn't okay. This isn't okay at all. Does Thought Scouring them early have any possibility of messing them up? I don't know the exact deck list here to know for sure. But nothing I can do is good. Yeah. So this deck is called One Land Spy in this format. So there's the Rite of Flame. Off a Spirit Guide. There's the Dark Ritual. There's another Dark Ritual. Here's a Destroy the Evidence. They have milled their entire library. They pay 3 mana to go and return Dregscape Zombies. They will then cast a Dread Return targeting a Lotleth Troll. And I just die. Just like that. On turn 2 in Pauper. I'm not one to cry wolf, but that feels bannable. What am I supposed to fucking do? I guess Cast into the Fire can hit 2 Dregscape Zombies and stop that, I guess. What? Fuck. I'm recording with the wrong deck. Ian, thank you very much for donating to support this video, by the way. I guess Hydroblast can stop Rite of Flame, but that's pretty narrow. I guess Crawl from the Cellar is like never relevant. Unless it's milled, Deep Analysis is probably never relevant. Maybe this is just a you gotta do what you gotta do situation. And I play the very sad looking Hydroblasts. This is fine. I have a Spell Bomb. And I have a Spell Pierce. This is hopefully good enough. Uh-huh. Oh, am I dead on turn 1 this time? No. Okay, the land enters tapped. Street Wraith. Street Wraith. There's this Ingot Chewer. It eats my Spell Bomb. I guess they don't technically have the payoff yet. I think I need to get this tapped land out of the way now. I think I can get away with not holding up Spell Pierce because my opponent needs to Ingot Chewer my Spell Bomb out of the way before they can win. Alright, there's Forest Cycling. Or a red land. Okay, so it looks like they have extra lands for post-sideboard games. Good to know. So I don't have red mana yet. So Cast into the Fire is not live. Spell Pierce is. Yes. And we're chillin'. It's not favorable for me. I'm drawing too many fatties right now. Alright. So it begins. So my opponent is going to target this. I will crack my Spell Bomb. I will pay the black to draw a card. Oh. It's more Cryptic Serpent. Oh, that's fine. So Ingot Chewer goes to the yard. 2 Street Wraiths are going to immediately get cycled. Songs of the Damned with 2 floating, so I don't actually counter that with Spell Pierce. Oh. Not the direction that I thought we were going there. Okay. So I will Swamp Cycle this. That gets me a red source. I can play this. I just still have 0 instants and sorceries with my 4 serpents, which is super inconvenient for me. Hopefully I can just beat the troll. I am not sure that I can if I just fully bottom out here. Yep. Alright. I am probably going to use my turn to cast into the, or my opponent's turn rather, to use Cast into the Fire to put an instant and sorcery into my graveyard. I just don't know that it matters. I potentially lost this one for not using Spell Pierce on Songs of the Damned. I thought my opponent was going for a win attempt when they weren't. Alright, I'm at 8. No movement from my opponent. This is the world's saddest spell. I don't think I can also Spell Pierce it. I don't think that's reasonable. Alright. Let's fix this shit. Oh, it's more Tolarian Terror. Joy. Put back Cast into the Fire. And one of these. 2 thingies in graveyard. 3 thingies in graveyard. That's so much Serpent. Alright. How much does one of these cost? 4. That's all my mana. Well, first of all, do I have an Edict? Because if I don't have an Edict, I have Snuff Out. I could draw Unexpected Fangs, I guess. I should play the one with higher power. Yeah, I think I'm on Unexpected Fangs or Bust. But if my opponent's good, that doesn't actually do anything, right? They just block with Tinderwall and then sack. Oh, I also just know the top of my library, right? Because I'm Brainstorm locked. F, yeah. No, that is not going to do it. Okay, I also just die for dropping Spell Pierce too. Yeah, so there's the spy for the name 1 land spy. Opponent mills 42. There's Songs of the Damned. Return, Lotleth Troll, and I'm dead. Disgusting. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, which is, in my opinion, the best Magic the Gathering website for hosting your deck lists online. One of my favorite features is that you can create your own custom tags for when you're deck building. So let's say you're building a commander deck and you want to know, hey, how many copy effects do I have? You can just create a tag and sort everything, and there's fun little hotkeys so that you can do this more quickly. So really, please consider checking them out if you are looking to tinker with deck lists online. Okay, so here's where I don't have reps to know, based on experience, whether or not this is a keep. I am going to keep it and see where this goes, for sort of my own purposes. I don't think I need that many lands to operate. Like, I think the answer is 2. Nice. Got the second one. This 4, no, 2 flashback, plus some life. It's been a while since we've done deep analysis on the channel. Ooh, nice fair cleansing wildfire to ramp. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards in hand. I could deep analysis to raw draw 2 cards, but I probably just end up discarding. I think instead this is just mill myself and play Mr. Fish. And I can hopefully just barely refuel my graveyard. It's a little sad to see deep analysis go. But when given the option to put a 5/5 into play on turn 2 or turn 3, I think you just take that. Oh no. Guy's so annoying. There's just no undoing it. Because it's not until this leaves the battlefield or anything. So I am always going to swamp cycle this. Probably want another red land. Although blue is actually pretty tempting. Yeah, blue might matter more. I think I'm just going to crash in now. Alright. So I have both Spell Pierce and Lightning Bolt available. Your cantrips are fine. Augur of Bolas is fine. That doesn't get Spell Pierced. Counter spell in hand. It's just an indestructible blocker. Disgusting. So you can decide if you want to Lightning Bolt this. I think the answer is just no. These cost a gajillion. I'm holding up these 2 cards. Yeah, this is just like not very fun. Sure. I guess Ephemerate could happen if I try to Lightning Bolt this immediately. I'm not getting anywhere by not casting spells, though. Alright, we're chilling. What is this? Draw a card, and then you gain life equal to the number of cards in your hand? What the fuck? What is this? No, my opponent's got this fucking land available. Spell Pierce doesn't do anything. Alright, have your life. Uh-huh, yeah, that's good. Although we're reaching the point of the game where I wonder whether or not just holding that to be a draw 3 is better. I don't know exactly what my opponent's deck is doing. I've got the general vibes. Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna no sir that one. Alright, my opponent does not fight back. Can I get a land with this? No. I am probably supposed to hold up both Counterspell and Spell Pierce, rather than play anything else out. Alright, I should try to make a land drop, I guess. A lot of times my land drop is untapped, or is tapped, though. Sure. I think I continue to chill. These are getting into castable range. Just a Mole Drifter. I will attempt to counterspell that. See if my opponent bites on a counterspell back. They do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards. 5 instant sorceries in graveyard. Well, Snuff Out can help with blink nonsense. So let's cast one of these. We might hit something with our Spell Pierce here. Negative. And this one costs 2, so I can't do it. I may be supposed to just sorcery speed Snuff Out the Mole Drifter. Alright, my opponent has just fought over nothing at a point where I could successfully Spell Pierce. Yep. More bridges. I, at least in theory, can start making meaningful attacks. I have 2 1-mana Tolarian Terrors coming. I guess let's start by seeing if those resolve. They do. Alright. Let's battle. Alright, my opponent takes 5 here, assuming nothing goes wrong. And I could maybe lose this to a Lightning Bolt. There is the Lightning Bolt. Still got 3 threats in play. I think that's fine. Regular cantrips are fine. Scred. Yeah, they are snowlands. Okay. Ow. Yeah, that's obnoxious. Just going for Scred again. Sure. And more lands. I hate this so much. Like, I just feel like damn near my entire deck was invalidated by one indestructible 3/3. Just ultimate feel bad. Unexpected Fangs and Mental Note. The life link is not nothing. I think I'm just going to take a Mental Note, though. Like, the way that I actually win this game is by getting more threats than what my opponent can remove. Like, I can take Unexpected Fangs, and it becomes easier for me to stay alive. Still conveniently plays around Spell Pierce. Oh, and that's a Lightning Bolt, not a Scred, too. Fuck. Yep. Cleansing Wildfire. That's just more ramp. That's kind of whatever. Sure. Alright. End of turn. Mental Note. Just get rid of that. Let's see if we can brainstorm away this Spell Pierce. We can. I don't want this. Cast into the Fire is really good. I guess I will put back the land. Island cycle this to shuffle. Pick up an untapped land. Yeah. Exile target artifact on this indestructible thingy. And hope my opponent doesn't have a counterspell. It is a red mana for the Scred. Ward is paid. My thing is dead. I have no power here. I haven't seen an Ephemerate yet. It's possible that sort of thing isn't over there, but it feels like it should be. More Cleansing Wildfire. Sure. Guess I'll float a mana. I still have a bunch of lands here. Oops, all augurs. Is that the reanimate? Yes. Alright, so that targets the Anarchaeomancer, who then enters the battlefield and returns it, which is exactly as obnoxious as you think it is. And now, like, my removal spells feel so bad against just, like, late to dinner recursion. Oh, okay, there are Ephemerates too. I'm going to concede. This is absolutely miserable. I'm going to play more copies of Cast into the Fire to exile indestructible things. And then I probably need some amount of this stuff. My snuff out's not answering the indestructible creatures is so bad. Alright, Spell Pierce is coming out. Brawl from the Cellar is fine value, but probably not necessary. Like, I just need to kill my opponent before the game goes as long as it did that time. I don't think I need Unexpected Fangs. I think that's just going to 2-for-1 me too much of the time. Snuff Out is still nice to stop Ephemerate nonsense, I guess. Just not super excited about it. Man, I'm going to board in so many situationally good cards that my deck's average generic value is just going to be worse. Arms of Hadar is fine very late in the game where my opponent does what they just did and they have a bunch of bodies on board. I don't know that I board that in. I'll keep a Snuff Out, I guess. So, Cycle Troll, make second land drop, play Brainstorm. Yeah. This feels bad to me, but this might just be what hands with this deck look like. I think it's better if I Brainstorm on my own turn and then Troll Shuffle, rather than Troll Shuffle and hold Brainstorm for a little bit later. I am just going to Sorcery Speed this. Okay. Feels like Snuff Out is a fine thing to have exactly one of. Let's Pyroblast and cast Into the Fire on top. And intend on shuffling one of those away. My opponent can just have a bunch of post-board blasts now, which is a thing. Cycle the Troll. Get Bog. Take a draw. Play Bog and pass. I can now remove this upkeep stop. Alright, no play for my opponent. No play for me, unfortunately. The same thing has just happened 2 games in a row where I've started a little bit land light and then just not been able to deploy these things because my opponent isn't casting anything that I can interact with. So accordingly, we're going to just attempt to nuke my opponent's land and draw out a counterspell. This is purely just to throw another card into my graveyard to start working these things towards being more castable. Because we're still just so far off. I mean, maybe I just can't keep one land Brainstorm Troll hands with this deck. Or maybe this is just a quirk of this matchup. Yeah, this is awful. Discard a Chainer's Edict for theoretical value. Can't counter that. Can't counter that. Cool. Okay. I make a land drop. I have no plays. There's a land drop from my opponent. I am literally going to just fire this off on the first possible spell just because I again need to just fuel the graveyard. This spell does not matter. Yep. I will probably just snuff that out on my turn to make my spells cost less. So let's snuff that out for free. How much do these currently cost? These currently cost 2. I guess I will go ahead and Swamp Cycle. We'll get a tapped land. I will pay this for 2, and then next turn I can do 2 of these in one turn cycle. But now there's a window to play the Kenku shithead, and I'll be sad. For sure, that's fine too. Alright, just going for more ramp. And my opponent is just so incredibly ahead in terms of resources here. Like, it's gross. Bash in for 5. Opponent eats it. I can hold up Counterspell, but I don't think I'm supposed to do that. I think I'm just supposed to shit 5/5s into play and hope it works. It's like my opponent just has so many cards that I'm not going to be able to counterspell stop everything that they're doing over there. This is the bird thing. Yeah, that's very good. Okay. Sure. So we're going to send stuff sideways, and then we'll reevaluate from there afterwards. Not interested in using Cast into the Fire right now. I think it's play this, hold up, counterspell. Yeah, alright, so I will attempt to counterspell, and then maybe be sad for a red blast. Not sad to a red blast. Nice. So next turn, I maybe have a window to cast into the fire 2 bird illusion tokens and then Chainer's Edict something else. We'll see though. It's just a preordain. That in theory could have been worse, but preordain does create an extra bird. Another destroy evil. Now cast into the fire doesn't do nearly as much. Like, I can still use it. And probably will. But a lot of times my opponent just, yeah. Yeah, now this Chainer's Edict basically does nothing. I needed it to help with Kenku Artificer, but now the Murmuring Mystic just eats me alive instead. I get 0 damage in, and am just in a horrible position. Okay. 5 mana for a draw 3. I think I'm done here. This is absolutely miserable to play against. And I think I'm also just effectively dead to 2 of those plus Ancestral. So this is another one of those hands where, like, do I keep this? I get to make my land drops. If my opponent plays a creature that I can snuff out, I'm making reasonable progress towards creatures. But the hands that I've kept that look like this just haven't felt good at all. Am I supposed to assume that I draw any reasonable spell instead of just more copies of these and keep the hand? Or am I just supposed to mulligan until I can, like, Mental Note or Thought Scour myself? I don't know, but we'll be going to 5 because I decided to mulligan. Easily the best hand so far. This is just Island, Thought Scour myself. Keep both of these and probably just the Brainstorm. Pitch this, pitch this. We're getting good use out of the upkeep stops. I am just going to Sorcery Speed Brainstorm so this doesn't get countered. I will put back 1 Thought Scour. Well, actually, maybe I put back Thought Scour land. No, I put back land, Thought Scour, and then just mill the land. I don't really want it. Okay, I'm not gonna. Yeah, I'll redraw this. I actually don't want the tapped land here. Okay. Figured it out. Oh. Please be Affinity so I play against something different than what I just played against. Maybe that's a lot to ask, but... Alright, 1, 2, 3 in Graveyard. Let's just immediately Thought Scour. Okay, cool. We're gonna play some critters next turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in Graveyard. Okay, it might be critter. It might just be 1. But I can get 1 next turn. Okay, it is Affinity. I will play my Island Swamp. I will play my Cryptic Serpent. And I think I'm honestly just going to snuff this out now and reduce my opponent's artifact count. Got a bridge and 3 artifacts. Guess Thoughtcast can still happen. It can. Alright. At least we've got punchies going on now. My opponent goes to 14. For 1 mana, I get 1 of these. I will swamp cycle 1 of these. Pick up a red mana source. Pass the turn. I have my opponent on a 2-turn clock. They have nothing in play currently, but things can change. Alright, that's 4 artifacts now. Sure. Deadly Dispute sorts of cards are very good with that. Brainstorm's kind of whatever as a draw. I'm not upset about it. But I'm also not like, oh man, this is the perfect time for a Brainstorm. Alright, my opponent is at 3. I'm going to fire off a Brainstorm looking for a counterspell. My opponent has done the cardinal sin of tapping out while at 3 life. And they will accordingly die. Good stuff. So I would like Cast into the Fire for sure to exile artifacts. And I probably need to play some number of blasts. This is where I just don't have current format experience to know how many of these I need to be packing. It's also just possible that I need Hydroblasts as well. Mostly to fight against opposing Red Blasts, because I don't want these idiots dying to Red Blasts. I don't want Crawl from the Solar. This creature seems expendable. Counterspell is so mana inefficient here. I maybe junk that. This is 61, cut 1 deep analysis. I don't really love Unexpected Fangs. Affinity on Pauper is kind of frustrating because it can be this insane aggro deck sometimes that you just have to fully respect. And other times it is just a control deck that draws more cards than you by a lot. This is fine. Alright. Upping the artifact count. I plan on using Cast into the Fire on curve. I need to get this tapped land out of the way now. I'm not super excited about taking a turn off because, like, the reason I won last time is that I went under my opponent, which is less likely to happen this game if I keep a hand that looks like this. So this is just going to be a land drop and pass, I think. I don't want to just exile an artifact land here. I think that is a trap against like the Deadly Dispute Thoughtcast deck that will like very clearly get out from under that later. I would do that sort of thing if I already had a threat in play. Okay, sure. Frogmite occurs. And there's a bridge. Attack for 2s, no big deal. I'm at 18. So end of turn. Let's do some milling. Love how it's okay. I think I cast that now. And just take out one of these. My opponent does like a Spell Pierce or equivalent spell. I can potentially counter back. 4 of these in graveyard. My stuff's not castable yet. I desperately need more mana. That's not mana. I'm bolting. There's just like not Deadly Dispute up right now. So I'm at maximum discount for these things, but blue pips are my limiting resource here. Still no red mana from my opponent. Fuck this guy. I hate him. He is my mortal nemesis. Like, I can spend my entire turn exiling that and still leave another body behind. Man, I'll exile it, but like spending my entire turn like this is not profitable. I just feel like I'm clunking all over myself. And even if I hit a land, it really just needs to be a basic island for me to have like truly good plays. I'm at 10. Nope. So I will do one of these for 1 mana, and I can defend it. Metallic Rebuke? Absolutely not. So I have stopped taking damage in the short term, but I can't deploy these future threats. And I only have situational counterspells. I don't have generic counterspells. Oh. Again with the indestructible thing. Sure. No attacks. Attack's actively bad for me. So many of my lands are tapped lands that I kind of need to Thought Scour now. But I just like can't beat a makeshift munitions if my opponent plays something out. So I think I'm gelling. And I'm very unhappy about it. This Geothermal Bog is rough. Alright, so my opponent's just going to come in with the flyer. Okay. I'm at 7. End of turn. Thought Scour myself. It's not a land drop. It's something that I can play with Pyroblast backup. I guess I will do that. Ugh. Battle. Yeah, very, very obvious block situation. I drop another one. And I'm probably just dead to this 3/3 indestructible flyer most of the time. Like, I don't think I can put the pressure on my opponent to win the war here, unless my opponent just has literal bricks in hand. Some portion of the time, I also just die to a Galv Blast to the face. Ah, the Galv Blast to the face. Alright, we get to try again. I didn't see any red blasts that game. Maybe the sideboard have changed. This still had valid targets. If I successfully go under my opponent, counterspell to back up my stuff is very good. It's a bit conditional. Maybe if I don't want the game to go long, I just board out Deep Analysis, board in counterspells, board in like one more get out of my way card. Maybe this is not necessary. Do I do arms to get multiple Frogmites and Kenku Artificers out of the way? Still just like does not clear the 3/3. I'll play one Spell Pierce. I don't know that this is capable. Like, every time I have done one of these cantrip cycler hands, I've just gotten destroyed. Like, it's in theory fine if I hit reasonable cards, but if I don't hit reasonable cards, I just kind of feel like I'm dead on the spot. I think I'm going to mulligan this very reasonable looking hand and try to find something with a Thought Scour that just goes into a critter faster. Yeah, this is much better. Pitch one Brainstorm here. I will now proceed to not get the second land and just die. Alright. Thought Scour. Hit second land, that's good. 2 thingies in graveyard. I do need other colors. So a Brainstorm would probably be ideal. Or sorry, a like cycler would probably be ideal to Brainstorm and then shuffle. See if we can make that happen. That's kind of like what I wanted. I can put back Counterspell Island, Thought Scour myself immediately, and then be in Cryptic Serpent territory next turn. I think I'm into that. I would like that always to happen, right? I think I would like that always to happen, so I will do it now while my opponent is tapped out. Okay. We're going to play a Cryptic Serpent. Probably into another Cryptic Serpent, and then cast into the fire something out of the way the following turn. Thoughtcast is quite good. That's not bad. Let's go tapped land. Play Serpent. Edict is rough. I've got another one, so it's not the end of the world, but it's pretty bad. Lorien Revealed at this point is just like definitely going to be a spell. Let's try again. We're in play. We can probably race a Chainer's Edict, especially if I just end up nuking one of my opponent's lands for tempo. Ugh, so good. That's brutal. Okay. So we're past the point where casting cast into the fire on a land is probably going to be a good idea. Land drop from my opponent. We're pretty much to everything with affinity is fully discounted territory. Yep. Yep. Uh-huh. I might need to cast that into the fire. I don't really want to, but I'm not equipped to beat that thing currently. And this also, like, is a good spot to cast something where I just have an easy Spell Pierce backup. Since so many of my lands come into play tapped, I can't reasonably wait to do this. Because there's just so many times where I just am waiting 5 turns. Yep. I will obviously draw an untapped land next turn to punish my decision to do that, but I think I've just got a jam. Like, the game is getting consistently worse for me, wrong one, as this game ticks up because Chainer's Edict exists. There is a Reckoner's Bargain, drawing an extra card for sacrificing the Wellspring. And I think I'm past the point where I can come back in this game. Like, I'll play it out for a bit longer. But, like, my opponent has 5 cards in hand. Kind of a 6th because of Chainer's Edict. Kind of a 7th. Kind of an 8th. Kind of a 9th. To my 2 conditional counterspells. Like, life is fucking bad. Guess let's see if we can make it better. Kind of. We can kind of make it better. Put back 1, 2. I'm not going to get the shuffle here. Next turn, I will cast this as a draw 3 with Pyroblast backup. All right, there's a Deadly Dispute, which Pyroblast does not counter. Land drop, we'll see if there's anything else or if this is just past the turn again. Sure. All right, yet more card draw. There's a Gurmag Angler. And I'm gonna need some help. Gurmag Angler doesn't die to Snuff Out. Doesn't die to the Lightning Bolt that's on top of my deck. Let's attempt to draw some cards. It's a Pyroblast instead of a blue counterspell. I will cry myself to sleep. Like, I'm probably just reaching the point where I should concede. My opponent has so many stored resources and so many cards in hand that I'm just not likely to win. Like, Chainer's Edict takes care of my next creature. If I answer Gurmag Angler, it comes back via Blood Fountain. They have a free looting available as well. Yeah, I just think I'm buried here. All right, so there's converting a bridge into some other live card. Yep. I think if my draw is a brick, I'm fine conceding to 9 onboard power. Yeah, that's fine. GG's. I'm slowly becoming the Joker as I look at these opening hands. Like, I have no ability to accelerate my graveyard here. Geothermal Bog doesn't contribute to the blue-blue that I need for this. I'm forced to cycle this. This hand doesn't do anything. This also doesn't do anything. In Archaeologist we trust, I guess. Keep this. Pitch this. Assume I hit another fatty. Keep another instant sorcery. I will be dead before I do anything with this hand. Okay. Oh, that's cool. Snuff Out, Lightning Bolt. Snuff Out. Okay, yep. So, bad fucking news here is that my opponent missed their land drop, which means their hand is just full of gas, and I can't close this game quickly. Alright. So, mill 3. I guess I put Unexpected Fangs to hand. That is the way that I slam the door on this game, assuming I do survive a few turns, but that's pretty tough to do right now. Okay, yeah, nope, that's, yep. Alright. Let's cast a Brainstorm. Put back some cards, it doesn't really matter what, because I'm just going to immediately cast another Brainstorm. Alright. Cast Brainstorm. 1, 2, this will only be 3 in graveyard. Okay. Again, it doesn't matter what I put back. I will just cast another Brainstorm because this still costs 4. Brainstorm. I'll put Fangs 2 down, and then it doesn't matter what I do with the other one. I will just redraw it. Alright, am I just taking 2? I doubt it, right? Yeah, alright, there's Lava Dart. I go to 8. So this is going to cost, what, 3 this turn? This is going to cost 3 this turn, and I can leave up Spell Pierce. So ward matter in game 1. The ward probably doesn't matter in game 1, right? If the ward doesn't matter in game 1, I play this one. And I just need to make it to my next turn so that I can play the Fangs and end this. I guess I'm blocking because I can die here. And hopefully my Spell Pierce keeps me from... God damn it. Alright, so Lava Dart happens. Go to 7. Those things trigger. Like, I Spell Pierce this, but then my opponent can do Lava Dart nonsense still, and I still die. It was just the illusion of choice, right? Lava Dart me to 5. Deal 5 to me with Swift Spear, and the game is over. Yep. Alright. Yep. I am remembering why I quit playing Pauper. Alright. Hydroblast in, Chainer's Edict in. Brawl from the Cellar out. Deep Analysis costs life, that's out. I honestly don't know if I can afford the life from Snuff out in this matchup. Casting the Fire actually is not... Well, it's not great a lot of the time. I didn't see the artifact stuff that's indicative of, like, the Cold Oath of Rebirth build. Maybe I can junk that. Get rid of 2 of those. I could play an Arms of Hadar. That gets rid of multiple Swift Spears. Yeah, mulligan. Oh my god. On 5, I'll keep. My hand doesn't do anything. Just literal stone cold nothing. Land, I guess. I sorcery speed this. I have milled 2 threats, neither of which contribute to my instant and sorcery count for those things in the future. Alright. I probably need to use my mana efficiently here, which means playing this. I will take the removal spell. It's so slow though, like, because tapped lands. Alright, let's see if I just get like Swift Spear bolted. Yep. Yep, no, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. I am making meaningful decisions in games of Magic. Okay. I will cast a Brainstorm. Could be worse. I'm gonna put back Unexpected Fangs and Counterspell, I guess. Tapped land. I think this represents more than 3 damage here, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and I will snuff out a Monastery Swift Spear as well. And then I'll decide whether or not I actually want Counterspell. Oh, yeah, no, Relic's cool. Not like I've been working hard to fill my graveyard or anything. Yeah. At this point, I probably have to upkeep Mental Note to not draw Counterspell. Alright. Swift Spear gets Double Strike. Alright. Mental Note. Refresh those cards. That's not... Fuck this deck. Absolutely fuck this deck. I can't cast any of my spells. I mulligan into Oblivion. My decisions don't matter. We're gonna go 0-4 drop. Yep. Sure. Alright. I get to go to my turn. Yeah, that card does not do anything. I'm never going to play a creature, because the second relic is going to prevent it. Yep. Buy Snuff out. I will counterspell that. Like, I have to just work towards being able to hardcast a creature before I am literally at 7 mana. Okay. Yep. That's fine. I will Lightning Bolt that. I will take a couple of points of damage from doing so, probably. But I don't think that's my counterspell target right now. Like, I could be wrong. Alright, I take 1. I'll take that 3. I'll take that 3. Well, that's a land drop. I'm not sure that it particularly matters which one of these I do. I'm going to go black. Like, we legit might just reach the point in the game where I hardcast a troll and put fangs on it. I'm gonna say no to that. My life total's getting low enough, and in theory, my good plays are mana intensive enough that I probably just have to do that. My opponent did not crack Relic, so I can sneak a fatty through this turn if I draw one, which I did not. Yep. Alright, my opponent is just making land drops. That's fine. Uh-huh. Turns out the Relic of Progenitus isn't doing anything because I just never had threats in the top half of the deck. That's not true. I randomly milled over the threats that I found. Going to get pinged to death by 3 lava darts at some point, and it's going to be embarrassing. So is that a land? Probably not. Like, my land count is low. So let's drop that, call it a turn. I think I have to set up for the next troll I draw. Alright. I have castable big idiots as of right now. That resolves. And I'm probably dead. Like, my opponent just fires off a bunch of spells with my lightning bolt on the stack. And that's the end of the game. So I probably go to my turn and try to draw a counter spell before I make a move on this. Nope. So I guess I can use the Chainer's Edict. And then die in response. Yeah. I will go to 3. I am dead to a lava dart. I am dead to a lightning bolt. Okay, not technically dead yet. I guess pass turn. I'll at 5 mana I'll hold troll. Yeah, I boarded out like snuff outs. Cast into fires for this. Alright. Yeah. I'm fully dead. Like, if I draw an untapped land and play a troll, there's no way I'm not dead. Alright. Well, let's die with something on the stack at least, shall we? Sure. Alright, they're cracking the relic. Dead to anything. Reckless Impulse into Lightning Bolt. That'll do. Just cast the damn Lightning Bolt and kill me. Sure, you can have a Rite of Flame. Sure. Well, we've dropped, so let's do some overall thoughts on the deck list. I hope this is not a stock build, because this felt awful. Like, my lands were entering tapped, meaning that I couldn't cast, especially the blue cards. I'm going to say on curve. And by that, I mean, like, on the turn where I had the appropriate number of instants and sorceries in graveyard, and double spelling in particular was tough. I don't know that the red splash was worth it. Like, Cast into the Fire and Lightning Bolt are very reasonable cards. But if the cost is Geothermal Bog as my second land, making it so that I can't cast the cards that my deck is built around, like, the cost is too steep. I believe I boarded this out every single round. Don't know that I'm a fan of it. I maybe undervalued this card just as another thing to help me mill. Like, just kind of looking at the numbers in the deck, I really thought that getting to, 5 or even just 4 instants and sorceries would be so much more reasonable. But when hands are being kept based on the troll, that's just not true. Like, so often you keep like a Brainstorm Troll hand, which is like a Ponder Fetch land sort of hand in Legacy. It's just not good here because you're not fueling things enough to do this stuff. I think I'm off Pauper again for a while. I keep coming back to the same thing in this format. So frequently I play decks where I just feel like my decisions don't matter. And I'm not saying that I played perfectly today, because like I certainly don't. And I asked plenty of questions, especially about how I was supposed to sideboard. But like in round 1, I got killed on turn 2 in a commons only format. And then I think I got killed on turn 3 after my piece of interaction was removed. Might have been turn 4. And then in the final round, like, I just made no relevant decisions for the most part. Like, we played technically a many turn game, but I think I mulled to 5 and I just never drew a threat. And I don't think this format is for me anymore. And I keep getting enticed back into doing it, but I just don't enjoy this format like I used to. And, maybe some bannings at some point will change that, but I'm hard off Pauper again. I was very excited about it with like Lorien Revealed and the Troll and Dread Return, but yeah, we're done here. Cool Stuff Inc. Promo code ThrabenU. Save 5% on your order. Have a great rest of the day. I'm gonna go have a beer.